shit, I'll have to cut that out. Alright, so this is my Hidetsugu and Kairi list. It reads, Flying. When Hidetsugu and Kairi enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards and put 2 from your hand on top of your library in any order. So Brainstorm. When Hidetsugu and Kairi dies, exile the top card of your library. Target opponent loses life equal to its mana value. If it's an instant or sorcery, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Pretty sweet. We got Ascendant Spirit, Consider, Fading Hope, Fairy Seer, flying when it enters scry 2. Overwhelm enters when it enters scry 2, and then each opponent mills 2. Defender, when it enters scry 1. A lot of those scry buddies are for finding land drops early, so it's kind of like Demir's version of ramp, if you will, by ensuring you hit your lands early. We got Pilfering Imp, flying, sacrifice Pilfering Imp, target opponent reveals their hand, you choose non-land card from it. That player discards that card, only activate as a sorcery. Thought Seize, target player reveals their hand, you choose non-land. That player discards that card, you lose 2 life. Witch's Oven, sacrifice creature, create a food token. If the sacrifice creature's toughness is 4 or greater, create 2 instead. This combos with Hidetsugu and Kairi, just in case it's about to get exiled, we can just sacrifice it. Curate, Surveil 2, draw 2. Surveil is you look at the top 2 cards of your library and you may put them in the graveyard. Flying, Night Veil Sprite, flying. When Night Veil Sprite attacks, Surveil 1. Feed the Swarm, destroy target creature or enchantment opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. So it can be kind of expensive life-wise if you hit the right things. For Phyrexian Vivisector, whenever a creature you control dies, scry 1. Pilfer, target opponent reveals their hand, choose a non-land card from it, they discard. So it's like Thoughtseize, except instead of paying 2 life, you pay an extra mana. Power Word Kill. Destroy target non-angel, non-demon, non-devil, non-dragon. Sinister Starfish. This is just a 0/3 with Surveil 1 when you tap it. The Elder Spell. You choose any number of planeswalkers. Choose a planeswalker you control. Put 2 loyalty counters on it for each planeswalker destroyed this way. So you can blow up a bunch of planeswalkers and then alt your planeswalker. We're mainly using it for its removal value. Walk the Plank. Destroy target non-merfolk. This card's pretty good. It's a sorcery, but for 2 mana it hits pretty much anything. 2 black, so it's kind of hard to cast. Discovery. Surveil 2, then draw a card. Dispersal. Each opponent returns a non-land permanent with what they control with the highest mana value among permanents they control to its owner's hand, then discards. Thought Erasure. Target opponent reveals their hand. Choose a non-land, discard it. Surveil 1. Cane Signet. Makes a mana. Lapis Orb of Dragonkind. Add 1 mana of any color. When you spend this mana to cast a dragon creature spell, scry 2. Invasion of Surgovia. When Invasion of Surgovia enters battlefield, create 2 1/1 blue Kraken creature tokens with trample. And then it flips into Cadius, the Sea Tyrant of Surgovia. Non-creature spells you cast have Convoke, which means you can tap your creatures as mana rocks, basically. At the beginning of your end step, untap up to 4 creatures. Hero's Downfall, instant, destroy target creature or planeswalker, pretty simple. Phyrexian Arena, draws you an extra card, you lose an extra life. At your upkeep. When Wolfstrider enters the battlefield, you create a 0/1 goat creature token, sacrifice another creature, scry 1, he's a sacrifice outlet, and he's free. Then he can escape, which you exile cards and pay the cost, and then he comes out with 2 extra 1/1 counters and makes another goat. Invasion of Amonkhet. When Invasion enters the battlefield, each player mills 3, then each opponent discards a card, you draw a card, and then he turns into Lazotep Convert. He basically makes Scarab God tokens, where you exile a card from the graveyard, and it's a 4/4 zombie. And it becomes that creature, but it's a 4/4 zombie as well. Notion Rain and Surveil 2, draw 2, Notion Rain deals 2 damage to you. Mana Geode. When Mana Geode enters the battlefield, scry 1, add 1 mana of any color. Inga Runize. Enters the battlefield, scry 3. When Inga dies, draw 3 cards if the 3 more creatures died this turn. Sphinx of Foresight. If you have them in your opening hand, you may scry 3 at the beginning of your first upkeep. Flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. He's just a 4/4 with flying. He's pretty good. Eat to Extinction. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Surveil 1. Ebon Death Draco Lich. He enters the battlefield tapped, and then if somebody dies, you can play him for your graveyard. As long as he didn't die. He can't cast off himself. Edgar Mauling makes a tapped black land, or it costs 1 less to cast if your opponent has any non-basic lands, and they're all non-basics, and it just destroys a creature. So it's basically murder. Otherwise, it's a little bit overpriced murder. Invasion Innistrad has flash. You can play it at instant speed. And it enters battlefield. Target creature an opponent grows. It's -13/-13. Probably kills it. When Deluge of the Dead enters, create 2 black zombie creature tokens. Then you can pay 3, exile a card. If it's a creature, you create a zombie. Languish. All creatures get -4/-4. Price of Fame costs 2 less if it targets a legendary creature. Destroy target creature. Surveil 2. Pretty good. Actually, really good in this mode because we're playing Brawl. Ritual Soot destroys all creatures with mana value 3 or less. Gain control of target creature with power 2 or less on Connive, and then Concoct. You surveil 3, and then return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Cosmos Elixir. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting life total. Otherwise, you gain 2 and scry 1. This has been changed in Arena with the scry. Cavalier Gales. Flying. When he enters, he brainstorms. Then when he dies, you shuffle it in and then scry 2. Gravenlord scry X, where X is the amount of snow mana. Then draw 3 cards. Invasion of Archaeveros. Invasion of Archaeveros. When it enters battlefield, you search your library, graveyard, and outside the game for an instant or sorcery. You don't reveal it, put it in your hand. You search your library this way, shuffle. And then when you flip it, whenever you cast your instant sorcery from your hand, you may copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So it copies all your spells once you flip it, as long as you cast them from your hand. Flying Earmouth Desert Dune has Ward 4 as long as it's untapped. When it deals combat damage, it draws you a card. If you have 3 or fewer cards, you draw equal to the difference. So it always puts you back up to 3 cards. Hi viewer, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Crux of Fate is you choose one, destroy all dragons or destroy all non-dragons. Doom Whisperers, Flying Trample, pay 2, surveil 2. He's a 6/6 for 5, so he's pretty good at rate. Junji, the Midnight Sky, Flying Menace. When he dies, you choose one. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. Put target non-dragon creature from your graveyard on the battlefield. You lose 2 life. Painful Quandary is good against those free cast decks. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, they either have to pay 5 life or discard a card. So it starts to add up. It's something you really can't ignore. Scatherix, the Blight Dragon, Flying Infect. Scatherix, the Bright Dragon, gains haste if you put a black into him. And then if you put 2 blacks, you can regenerate him, which basically gives him a second life. So if he were to die, you regenerate him, he gets a second life, comes back into the battlefield tapped. Scarab God, you scry X for his amount of zombies you control, and then they lose life as well. And then he can make zombie tokens by paying 4, 2, and then Demir. And then you exile a target creature, it becomes a copy of it, but it's a 4/4 zombie instead of like whatever it would be. And then when it dies, you return it to its owner's hand at the beginning next end step. Blood of Tears, you bounce all permanents, and then if you bounce 4 or more permanents that are non-tokens, you can put a permanent from your hand onto the battlefield free. Kairi, the Swirling Sky, has Flying and Ward 3, and then when it dies, you return any target number of non-land permanents with total mana value 6 or less to their owner's hands. You mill 6 cards. Then return up to 2 instants or sorceries from your graveyard to your hand. You choose one or the other. River's Rebuke bounces all their stuff if you target them. Temporal Anchor, well, it doesn't bounce lands, but when I say all your stuff, just assume non-lands. Temporal Anchor, at the beginning of your upkeep, scry 2, and then when you scry more cards to the bottom, it tucks it underneath this, and then you can play them during your turn. Blood on the Snow, you destroy all creatures and planeswalkers, and then you return something for the amount of snow you put into it. And then Invasion of Fiora, you choose one or both, destroy all legendaries, destroy all non-legendaries, and then it turns into Marchesa, Resolute Monarch. Menace Death Touch, when Marchesa, Resolute Monarch attacks, remove all counters from one target permanent. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you haven't been dealt combat damage since your last turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life. It's kind of like a pseudo-monarchy. Players can't activate Planeswalker's loyalty abilities because of the Immortal Sun. Then you draw an extra card. Your spells cost 1 less, and creatures get 1/1. Seagate is either can pay 3 and it comes into play untapped. It's just a blue source, and then you draw cards equal to your number and your hand size plus 1, and then you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Ancient Blast Dragon Flying. When it deals damage, you roll a d20, and then you can peel that many cards out of a graveyard. Because you can choose between both graveyards too. Ancient Silver Dragon's much the same. When you deal damage, you roll a d20, draw cards equal to the result, and then you have no maximum hand size. Hoarding Broodlord has Convoke, which means your creatures can outpay for it. Either they pay whatever their colors are, so if you have like a blue dude, a black dude, so it'd be a blue, black, and then they can either pay those or 1. And then you exile a card, because it tutors up a card and you exile it, and then all those spells you cast from exile have Convoke. That actually works well with Temporal Anchor because they technically come from exile. Rise of the Dark Realms, this is basically our win condition. You put all creature cards from the graveyards onto the battlefield. Agadeem's Awakening, it's a black source. If you pay 3, it enters the battlefield untapped. If you don't, it enters tapped. And then you play it, or 3 and X, and you can return all those creatures from like a mana value. Like you put 3 and 6 into it, then you can grab a 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pretty simple stuff. Mass Manipulation. For each, you pay 4, and then for every 2, you can steal opponent's creatures or planeswalkers. And we got a mana base. So let's get started. Hidetsugu and Kairi is a really strong Dimir commander, so if you like Dimir, you should probably play this guy. Like, for real. He's very, very strong. We're up against Stealthy Gundam, Yenna, Red Tooth Regent. This is an enchantment commander. Set this. Whenever you cast an enchantment, you gain 1 life, draw a card. Midnight Veil Sprite. They play a land. Look at their land. Horizons. With Horizons using Aura, you can put a 1/1 counter on a creature, and it causes that land to tap for, I think, 2 of any one color. Yeah, 2 of any one color. Two. I'm going to take the Anointed Procession. Going first. We'll keep that because we want the mana. Go ahead and bounce this Regent now because she can copy auras, so go ahead and bounce her back to the hand before she can act. Chipping away at our battle over there, our invasion. ossify my creature, which binds it underneath the land, underneath ossification. Play the life of halfling instead. Copies their Jeskai Naturalist, or Jukai. Let's see here. Play Invasion of Archaeos. Yeah, she doesn't have to untap if she gets an aura. Fortunately, they got ahead of us, so they're probably going to win right here. Because they have lethal already. They have 11, 15, 16, 17, 18, so I'm not going to win. They already got it. Oh well. Up against QC free run. Probably won't be able to hear Arena. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. Makes it a little bit easier for me to mix. Seems like you're not getting much, so. No attacks. We're gonna go ahead and surveil after they play their card to find a land. Let's cultivate. We're gonna go grab 2 lands, put 1 tap, the other. We're gonna pitch Scatherics. We're trying to hit our 4th land. I'm having too much luck tonight, viewer. Oh, I'll pick up. Picks up their counterspell. Picks up Infernal Grasp. Still in it to win it. We're gonna eat a bunch of food here. Killing our commander, it doesn't matter. We didn't get a board wipe soon enough. We kind of stifled our plans with our Hidetsugu and Kairi, so let's call it there. They got lethal on board anyway. So 0-2 is what it is. It is what it is. Mr. Enigma. I concede. It's a victory. I'm not really going to count that one, though. So like I said, this deck's got legs. So there's quite a few versions of this list that I have of Hidetsugu and Kairi. He was my favorite commander for about like a month and a half. I played nothing but him. Kind of kept a bad hand, but we're gonna see if it works out. Go ahead and get rid of their Planeswalker. That one can keep peeling out elves out of their deck, so there's a mana dweeb. If any luck, we'll still be alright. Fortunately, we can't play Ebb and Death because we don't have 2 black sources. I'm gonna mill him too. Fence of the Heart, that's a pretty good one. We're just gonna put Laundry away. Need to start hitting lands. At least we got a blocker for this big chunky dude, 5/6 Cavalier of Thorns. When he dies, he can return cards from your graveyard if you exile him. Well, just a card. I think he's like the worst Cavalier out of the Cavalier cycle. I think he's the weakest one. Go ahead and eat the food now. We're just trying to get counters on this. Yeah, it'll tap it, but at least it's getting big. This is kind of interesting. It's kind of like an Evolving Wilds. Yeah, it costs 1, but then it can tap for colorless mana beforehand, which is pretty decent. Let's see, 2, 4, 9, 11, 13. Go ahead and sacrifice the deck with Kairi. block off some of this damage. You'll see why here in a moment. They discover, and dispersal, bouncer, Cavalier of Thorns. Because the bounce is the highest mana value, then they discard. Maybe we'll find a board wipe. Short ourselves up with a little bit of health. They might still have lethal anyways. Put Voltani back in their hand. Just not getting too much luck tonight, viewer. We'll get it. It'll come around. It'll come full circle. Just enough. That's fine. Like I said, we'll get them next time. Dawdler. Don't need to scry, we're still doing pretty good over here. We'll play our mana geode, get a scry out of him as well. Keep that swamp. But at least Atali can't get anything too exciting. We'll put Ancient Silver Dragon at the top. Just in case he dies. Hidetsugu dies, he exiles him regardless anyways. So they'll lose 8 life. So. Actually, fuck. I didn't even think about that. Hold on, we might have to surveil him away. If they play Atali, we have to surveil him away. think we just take that here. Again, we're not in the best spot, but I think we can still do this. I don't think we played it. Or feed the swarm, keep the land. Yeah, they got us. Just no luck tonight, viewer. None. Not a one. It's alright, though. I'm not too worried about it. What's nice about these snowlands is they're considered islands and swamps. It's actually a pretty good thing. When plagues comes and play tapped, they go. Playing up against Agnes Dragonlass. Use his cut to kill our creature. Go ahead and play Notion Rain for free. Ping him for 3. I think we pitched these 2 lands. Exactly what we need. Fucking blood on the stone. have probably played Hidetsugu Kairi there first. I mean, they got enough to escape, I'm pretty sure. 3 other cards, yeah. So they got us here. Because even if we gain life, we can't gain enough, so... Man, we're just not getting any luck tonight, viewer. Not a 1. It's all good, though. I'm not too worried about it. Maybe we'll switch over to a different deck and have a bunch of luck, so... That's the way I look at it. Playing Nahiri, Forge in Fury. This card's pretty sweet. She can free cast equipments. I think we go second this time. We're looking to mulligan. Colossus Hammer. Might be in deep already. Get rid of their equipment. That has 4 Maraudon, so they get a free guy out of it. Walk the plank, Galley. Really couldn't take that hit there. That was Lion Dash. Kind of dead in the water here. They can play their Nahiri next turn, though, so... I'm going to dig for some answers. Milled them, we got Price of Fame. Want that for Nahiri. And play Vivisector. Whatever creatures we control dies. I do. What do you got for us, Sabrosian? We've had no luck tonight, viewers. I'm gonna try and get at least 2 wins out of this. Was because of 4 Maraudon. Swells the Lion Sash. Plays Nahiri. Yeah, we'll do this. They go ahead and use their last mana. Which, yeah. Probably should have made it safe that red foot, but it is what it is. I'm not really too worried about it. This is kind of how the deck goes. Like right when we lose Hidetsugu and Kairi, then kind of just come in. It's alright though. I had to see if it was him that got it too. Finally equip Boughs' hammer. I got 14-12 out of Galen. Doesn't really help him though that much. We almost screwed up there. Got him. That's our other win. I'm trying to think, did we have? Well, we had that one concede. Nah, I think we only won one this night. Couldn't quite get there. Our opponent couldn't. Which, to be fair, we kind of deserve that win. We've had a string of losses. But yeah, that's Hidetsugu and Kairi. That's one version of the list. I got like 6 of them. It's a pretty damn good commander when it decides to work with you. I mean, it's Magic the Gathering. It's a card game, so you win some, you lose some. That simple, really. But don't write off that commander as weak, because that commander is anything but weak. That card's strong as hell. So, all right. In lieu of everything, I'm gonna wait for the gems. I was gonna buy a pack, but I'll just wait for the gems. Alright, here we go. We're going to probably play Quiza. I'm going to go ahead and do the deck tech quick. It saves me time on my other stuff. I got rid of my other Quiza list. Shoot. Actually, you know what? We'll play Nissa. This Nissa is strong. This is like a Nissa toolbox list. Is what it is. The toolbox list, as in we get creatures in the yard, bring them back, and then their ETBs kind of provide us various amounts of value and can kind of do a bunch of different things, get us into favorable positions. Alright, this is Nissa Shadow Boughs. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, she gets a loyalty counter. She can untap a land. It becomes a 3/3 elemental with haste and menace. It's still a land. And then you may put a creature card with mana value less than equal to the number of lands you control on the battlefield from your hand or graveyard with 2/1 counter. So she can free cast from your hand too. But you gotta have the amount. Gotta have the lands for it. Ashnod's Intervention. Until the end of turn, target creature gains 2/0, and then when it dies, it is put into exile. Return it to its owner's hand. Eliminate. Kills a creature or planeswalker with 3 or less mana cost. Belfer, you saw it before. Pick a card, discard it. Armored Scoutgorger, he's a mana dude, and he can exile cards from the graveyard, and if he has 3 or more oil counters, he becomes a 3/3. Heroic Intervention gives everything indestructible hexproof on our side. Instant speed, 2 mana. Invasion of Ixalan enters battlefield like the top 5 cards. You may reveal a permanent, put it to your hand, put the rest in the bottom. Trample, and then whenever you cast a spell, Belligerent Regisaur gains indestructible. Crawl Harpooner, Reach, Undergrowth. Enters battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature you don't control with flying. He gets X0 depending on the amount of creatures you have in the yard, then he fights that flyer. So he's like good flying removal, which is pretty good in green. Tangle Florahedron, he's a mana rock, or a mana dweeb, or he's a green land that comes into play tapped. Terra Sunder, it exiles the target artifact or enchantment. If you put 4 mana into it, one of those being black, so 1 green, 1 black, 2. You can exile target non-land permanent. Assassin's Trophy blows up anything, your opponent grabs a basic land. Swarm Guildmage, I kind of played him just because I felt like it, but he's pretty decent. Creatures get 1/0 and gain Menace until end of turn for 5 mana. That's pretty good. It's a kind of a win condition because everything having Menace makes them that much harder to block, because Menace means they need to be blocked by at least 2 creatures, and you can pay 1 and 1 green, tap them, gain 2 life. Cool. Arcane Signet makes a mana. Murderous Rider. Swift End, destroy target creature or planeswalker, you lose 2 life. So it's basically a hero's downfall. And then lifelink, and then when he dies, you put him at the bottom of your library. Palaka's Predation. It's a black source that enters tapped, and then your opponent reveals their hand. You grab a card with mana value 3 or greater, and then discard it. Phyrexian Arena. Beginning of the upkeep, we draw an extra card, lose a life. Balaga Recovery is a tap green, or it returns a card from our graveyard to our hand. Cultivate. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands. Reveal those cards, put one on the battlefield tapped, and then the other into your hand, then shuffle. Kalini Territory enters battlefield tapped. It is just a 1 green source, and it fights 1 creature you don't control. Teresa Death Whisper. Bewitching Whispers. When she gets into play, target creature blocks if able, so she's kind of like a lure effect, is what those be called. And then Whispers of the Grave. If the creature dies, you may pay 2 life. You draw a card. Glissa Sunslayer. This card is amazing. First strike Death Touch, so it's really hard to block. When it deals combat damage to the player, choose 1, draw a card, lose a life. Destroy target enchantment or remove 3 counters from target permanent. That can kill planeswalkers, sometimes like kill like 1/1 creatures, or make them smaller and easier to deal with. Or it can like hit the counters off of an artifact to prevent you from maybe that artifact transforming or losing you the game or winning you the game. Journey to Eternity, you equip it to a creature, and then when it dies, it returns to the battlefield under owner's control, and then it turns into Adzazel, Cave of Eternity. You get a land, or it's a land that makes any color mana, and then you can pay 5, tap it, and return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's 6 technically because you tap the land, but Maelstrom Pros, pay 3 mana, blows up anything that's not a land, and all the permanents that share a name with it. Bronze Wallace, he's a mana dweeb, but when he comes into play, he scries 2, and he's a 2/2 for 3. Pretty decent. Burnish Heart, you pay 3, sacrifice him, he cultivates. Well, you can get 2 basic lands on the battlefield instead, so he's kind of like a cultivate, except a little bit better, but a lot slower. Defiler of Flesh, Menace, and he can Phyrexian mana your black sources, so you can pay 2 life instead of paying a black. You can only reduce 1 black that you pay, though. And whenever you cast a black permanent spell, target creature you control gains 1/1 and gains Menace. So it's harder to block. Extinction Event, you choose odd or even. Exile each mana value creature that is either odd or even. Gonti, when he comes into play, he's got Death Touch. When he comes into play, you look at the top 4 cards of your opponent's library, take one of them, and put the rest in the bottom. And you can cast it for any kind of mana. Agura Mauling, you saw this before. It's a black source that enters battlefield tap, or it destroys creatures. Invasion Innistrad, we played this as well. -13/13, makes 2 zombies. He becomes a zombie factory. Graveyard exile source. Phyrexian Obliterator, when this guy takes damage, your opponent loses or sacrifices that many permanents. He's got trample, so if he blocks some obscene amount of damage, your opponent's about to lose everything. Ravenous Chupacabra, enters battlefield, destroy target creature opponent controls. But you can't have Phyrexian Obliterator get killed by your stuff, like take damage from your stuff, otherwise you sacrifice. Shoulder Apocalypse, excellent card. She has Death Touch. She's a 4/5 for 4. When you draw a card, gain 2 life. When your opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. Pretty simple. Doomscar Warrior, backup, gives him a 1/1 counter, and then he gains the text box of a creature he grants that to for a turn. Then when it deals combat damage to a player or battle, look at that many cards. Reveal a creature or land, put it in your hand, put the rest of the bottom of the library in random order. Draws creatures or lands, good stuff. Invasion Ascendant card. Put him 2 basic lands into the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Then when he dies, or when you conquer the siege, he becomes Awakened Skyclave, Vigilance Haste. He's a land, and he taps for any color. Seraph, the Viper's Fang. This card's pretty sweet. Other tapped creatures you control have Death Touch. Untapped creatures have Hexproof. and then he can untap another target creature or land you control, or she. Find the Old Gods, destroys target non-land permanent. You search your library for a forest. Mind you, this can be like shock lands and stuff because it's just a forest. And then creatures you control gain Death Touch. Mortality Spear, it costs 2 less if you gain life, and it just destroys a non-land permanent for 4. Usually we're not gaining too much life in this list, so the second part of it doesn't really matter. Nementa, remove a Warden. Reach, if a creature your opponent controls would die, exile it instead. And if you do, or when you do, you get a 1/1 Sapling, so that's just a little 1/1 dude. You can sacrifice the Sapling, it gets 2/2 until end of turn, sacrifice 2 of them, and it draws you a card. It's mostly here for removing their graveyard when their creatures die. So they don't go in the graveyard, they just go straight to exile. Rise of the Witch King. Each player sacrifices a creature. If you sacrifice a creature, you can return another permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield. This card is actually really excellent. Vraska Golgari Queen. You can sacrifice another permanent. If you do, gain 1 life, draw a card. Blows up a target non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less. And then an emblem. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game straight up. So it's like a Fade to Untouchables effect. Shieldred, Menace, when she comes into play, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker. Exile Shieldred, return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery, and if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. Each opponent discards 3 cards, then mills 3 cards. Put all creatures from the graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Exile the True Scriptures. Return it back as a Shieldred. So then they sacrifice, do the whole thing again. Scatherix, we saw him before, has haste and regenerate for a little bit of mana. He deals damage in the form of infect, so 3 swings with this guy at face value. 3 swings, he wins the game. Defiler Vigor, Trample, he's the other Defiler. He makes green turn into Phyrexian mana cost, and this is probably like the best Defiler, arguably, maybe besides the red one. They're both like, I'd say this is a little bit better than the red one, but the red one's like right here, right underneath them. And whenever you cast a green spell, he gives your entire team 1/1 counters. Leyline Surge and Invasion of Chandelar. When Invasion enters, return up to 3 permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Deathbloom Ritualist, add X mana of any one color, which X is the number of creature cards in my graveyard. Lissa Herald Perfection, at the beginning of your combat, choose 1, incubate 2 twice, that makes 2/2 artifacts that when you crack them, they're just 2/2 guys. Transform all incubated token to control, so you just turn your guys into guys right away. Then Phyrexians you control gain First Strike and Death Touch. Pretty strong stuff. Blood on the Snow, we saw this before. Just draw a creature, draw a planeswalkers, you put snow into it, you bring something back. Ever After, return 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each of those is black zombies. Then you put Ever After at the bottom of its owner's library instead of the graveyard. This card's pretty sweet. Invasion Fiora, we saw this before. Destroys all legendaries, destroy all non-legendaries. And then Marchesa attacks, remove all counters from up to 1 target permanent, so instantly kills planeswalkers. That's a big one. And it basically has a pseudo-monarchy effect. Liliana Dreadhorde General, whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. Creates a 1/1 or a 2/2 black zombie. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures. Each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type, then sacrifices the rest. She pretty much wins you the game if she ults. Pretty much. There is situations that where you alter and you can still lose if they're like way too far ahead of you, but usually if she ults and they're not too incredibly far ahead of you, you probably win the game. Noxious Gearhulk, when he comes in, he blows up a creature, and then if you do, you gain life equals its toughness. Betrayal Sting Vraska, completed, so you can it's got a Phyrexian mana symbol. If you do complete it, it comes in with 2 less loyalty counters. You can draw a card, lose 1 life, proliferate. You can turn a creature into a treasure artifact, which is pretty decent. Gets around like indestructible. And then if target player has fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. So she puts them at 9 poison counters, which means if they get 1 more, they lose the game on the spot. Vorinclex Monsters Raider, Trample, Haste, and then if you put counters on permanents, you double them, and that even includes players. And then if you put, players. And then if an opponent would put counters on things, they put half as many. Casualties of War, this card's sweet. You choose 1 or more, destroy artifact, creature, enchantment, land, planeswalker. Pretty much hits all card types. So you can get like a 5-for-1 out of that. The card's absolutely mental, especially in Brawl, since a lot of things are one of, and a lot of times most decks play like one of each card type, at least one. Shalab, Child of Ungoliant. Death Touch, Ward 2. Ward 2 means it takes extra 2 mana to target it with abilities, otherwise they fizzle. And then when a creature dealt damage by a spider this turn you control dies, you create a token of it, except it's a food artifact. So like if you take passive abilities, this is really good from creatures. Like you take creatures that have passive abilities. Vraska, Relic Seeder. She makes a 2/2 black pirate with Menace. Menace again needs 2 creatures to block it. She can destroy target artifact, creature, or enchantment. You create a treasure token. Target player's life total becomes 1. Her ultimate basically wins you the game as well. Breach the Multiverse, we saw this before. Each player mills 10 cards. You grab a creature or planeswalker from each yard, put it back into play. Phyrexian Flesh Scourger, this card's flexible. There's a 3-mana Menace lifelink, and then you got War, paid life equal to its power. Or he's a 7-mana, 7/5 lifelink Menace, and then with Ward 7 life, basically. And Shoulder Whispering one has Swamp Walk, which means if they have a swamp, it can't be blocked. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, we bring a creature back. At the beginning of their upkeep, they sacrifice a creature. Nissa, Ascendant Animus, completed. Create an XX Phyrexian Horror creature token where X is Nissa's loyalty. Destroy target artifact or enchantment for -1 until end of turn. Creatures you control gain 1/1. Reach forest you control and gain trample. Kind of Industry, Reach, Trample. Enters the battlefield, choose 2. You destroy target artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5 life. You create a green or 4/4 dude. Put a shield counter. Shield counter means the first instance of damage or death that would happen to it, you remove the shield counter instead. He's a powerhouse in this deck because we can keep bringing him back usually. Taverna Rex. This is a win con too. Spell can't be countered. Trample, Ward 4, Haste, Toxic 4. Toxic 4 means he gives 4 poison counters on contact. So he's like Scatherix, where guaranteed he wins by 3 swings, but with as big as he is, he's probably killing them by life loss too. So, Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger. This card's a big bully. Trample, 7/6. Whenever you tap a land, we double it. Whenever they tap land, it taps down for 2 turns instead of just 1. Portal Phyrexia enters play. They sacrifice 3 creatures. Then each turn, we return a creature from our graveyard for a graveyard. It just becomes a Phyrexian. In addition to those types. Nyla's Intervention, we either can grab X lands. So if we paid like 5, we can grab 3 lands. And it's any land, so it's not just basics and stuff. You can just grab, you can toolbox a bunch of lands, like a lands deck likes this. Or it does Windstorm, which deals twice X damage to all creatures with flying. Agadeem's Awakening, we saw that. Returns a bunch of stuff from your yard. Pretty standard pretty standard mana base. And yeah, that's that. Once again, viewer, thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. So maybe we'll have a little bit better luck with this list. Is that or not? Is our opponent.
One true guardian.
What I like about this animation of the land is it doesn't stay a creature. Because you can end up losing too many lands that way. And that can really get you in the long run. Gladium Mirror. Well, play a Crawl Harpooner. Doesn't fight anything. Take a land.
The land is savage and defiant.
Brine on my skin. Great day to fight.
This QR is pretty sweet. Behemoth Beckwer. Whenever a creature with 4 or more power comes into play, you draw a card, and then she can untap permanent.
I love to make a splash.
Emoti, she's a butthole. She causes everything that's 5 or more to have Cascade, and she which Cascade means you just like dig for a certain mana value, and then you get it out of your deck. I stab her right away, otherwise she just
The world will shake you loose.
got block here, otherwise it's
match you drop for drop.
Alright, 6 or more.
Nature flows with vigor.
Kill that. You have to keep the Madi on the board. Or I should be doing too much.
Swamps, come to my aid.
Tides always rise again.
So hopefully you can get another land next turn. Pretty much have no choice but to start digging for lands. This really puts us in a bad position. 2, 3.
The land will devour intruders.
Well, Nissa can probably free cast us a creature next turn, so maybe we can get back ahead. Potentially. We'll see. Gnawbone, probably not. Yeah. This guy's cool, he comes into play as land. He's pretty sweet. Alright, we're probably just gonna call it here, viewer, because I gotta be right back. I gotta pee, so. Okay, I lost. We just kept getting mana screwed. If we got mana, we would have been fine. Be right back. Alright, I'm back, viewer. I had to pee really bad. Anyways, this next one should be more eventful. So again, viewer, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. If we didn't not draw so many lands, we would have been fine. We just kept peeling into no lands. Mad Mimu. They're about to go ahead of us really crazy, right? I'm not sure if we run Ritual Soot. I don't think we do. And we're just having no luck in the arena tonight, viewer. Just not a one. Just not a one.
Protect those who cannot protect themselves. I sense the good in your heart.
Have to do this. And send this dude. I mean, they pretty much got us next turn anyways. They're gonna get a bunch of counters,
I will hold them off.
So, they got us. It is what it is. Again, like I said, we're just not having too much luck tonight, so I'm not really too worried about it. Heck, the feeder. Save him off there for the Sunslayer. What's good about this card is she's really hard to deal with if you don't have removal. Because first strike death touch means that anything comes in, they die. Period. Yeah, you can actually do this. Or we can reset the lore counters and keep blowing stuff up. This is a pretty nifty little combo. Yeah, they concede right then and there. Which I don't blame them, because we're just going to keep blowing up their stuff. So they ain't going to be able to keep anything down. We got a free removal every turn after that point. Those two cards are 2 peas in a pod. Got a rare here. Ooh, nice. I wanted another one of her. This card's nuts. You discard all the cards in your hand, draw that many, and then you choose an artifact and creature with 1, 2, or 1, 2, and 3, and you can play those cards for free. The card's nuts. Honestly, it really is. So, we'll go on to the next one. Try and get a little bit more longer wins. If not, so be it. Probably do about 2 or 3 more, and then I call it there. Tails. Go ahead and blow up Kami Whisper Hope. It doubles 1/1 counters and it acts as a mana dork. Very on Boughs Collar. This card's nuts. And you cast creature spells, it gets 1/1 counters. Hold on a second, viewer. accidentally expanded my thing. I'm gonna go ahead and cultivate, because we're gonna need to play some of our removal pieces. Grab one of each. Probably should have just grabbed 2 blacks. Alright though. That could be problematic. Because that gives them protection. And a lot of our removal is green and black. So, go ahead. They're getting in anyways. They got trample. They grab a land, because that's what this cooldown of the West Tree does. If your creature is modified, which means they have counters or equipment on them. Oh hey, this might actually have worked well. Yeah, I think we can do this. I'm gonna play Ever After. And take their Silverback Elder. That really puts them in a position of harm. Their Defense of the Heart's probably going to win them the game right here, because they get 2 creatures because of it. So they'll probably just grab Crater Hoof and like another whatever. I don't have that in this deck. I have the card, I just don't have it put in here yet. This is actually pretty cool. That was unexpected. I thought they were just going to get Crater Hoof and stuff and win, but they didn't, which is cool. Oh, hey. Alright, well, I'm cool with just killing this. Well, actually, we gotta kill them both. We're gonna lose anyways. Because they're gonna get 15 power worth of stuff from their weapon. So, day late and dollar short. That's fine. Hold on. Yeah. They were That's what they're gonna win with that because they had 15 power of guys coming out, 3 5/5 worms with trample. So probably play like 2 more. I want to try and get another decent win. Appreciate your time, viewer. I really do. Trace treasure with Charming Scoundrel. Card's pretty sweet. It's finally Red's turn to get their choose 3 guy or gal. A lot of haste. Hopefully we can get more lands. That works. Exile with Agonizing Remorse, one of the draw or discard spells. Kind of like Thoughtseize, except it costs 2 mana and it exiles. Play Nissa. Animate our land. Go ahead and do our colors first. We need to save our green. So.
Me, Ashaya.
I'll play our Invasion and send a car. I just grabbed 2 greens here. Yeah. Let's grab 2 greens. Hoping Nissa would stuck it out. Doesn't matter since we're not sending anything their direction anyway. Yeah, we'll pay the 2 life, draw a card, get a land, sweet. They take an extra turn, so they get an extra draw step, cool. Extra turn spells aren't super exciting unless you plan on breaking them or you're already in a position to win.
Your name and rank are insignificant to me.
I was kind of waiting for them to play something.
Fresh blood is ideal combination. I am your inner demon. It is just a small headache. Cherish your brief triumph.
and my will reign supreme. We will protect my home.
Yeah, he's a land, so he gives Nissa a loyalty counter. I think that Casualties of War really sealed the deal for us. Blowing up their 1 red source and 4 things, a 4 for 1. Oh, they got a red source. That's the thing with Casualties of War, it's fucking nuts. Because it's a 4 for 1. Or a 5 for 1 on its best days. Even if it's like a 3 for 1, it's worth it. It only starts being kind of meh when it's a 2 for 1 or something. That's less than exciting. And Heroic Intervention protects all of our stuff. Nope, not today. Plays land. Plays wrath. Go ahead and put a 2/2 menace on.
The belligerent needs her crew.
We're not going to turn the land.
The swamps come to my aid.
Go and get this dude to send his Skyblade back up. So he can peel us out of land or a creature. They lose the game. This will be our last one, viewer. Thank you for your time. I really do appreciate you. Swords of Plowshares. Exiles a guy for 1 mana. Then we gain 3 because of its power. This has 3 power. Lag Spike. A little bit of a lag spike. Let's see if it comes back. If it doesn't, I'm not too worried about it. I'm kind of done with this anyways tonight, so. Yeah, we'll just call it there. Screw it. Because it doesn't make a difference to me. Alright, you have a wonderful day, viewer. Hold on, maybe we can fix it. If not, we're probably going to be a turn behind anyway, so screw it. Alright. Thank you for your time. You have a wonderful night. Stay safe.